This is Mrs. Knopf, and today we are going to continue in our method book with line 42, Saints Go Marching In. And as always, I want to point out what I really like about this method book. It's the fingering chart that shows up on every page or every other page that is dedicated to the notes on those pages. So we're going to start up here at the top. We have an A on the second space, and it's the first two valves, 1 and 2, at the same time. And then we have our second line G, that is all valves up, that is open. Then working our way down to an F on the first space, first valve only. Make sure you're always pressing the valves all the way down or completely left alone. There's no in between when it comes to these notes. Next, we have an E on the first line. First and second valve, just like the A, so you're going to have to adjust your embouchure and your airspeed to make a difference between those two pitches. Then we have our D, one space below the staff, first and third valve, and then you also want to try to push out that third valve slide if your trumpet will let you. That's going to help with the intonation. Finally, we have our C, one ledger line below the staff. It is open just like the G, and the same thing applies with the airspeed and embouchure. You need to make adjustments between those two to make a difference between the pitches. So now I'm going to scroll, or I'm going to try to scroll. All right, that way I won't be so much in the way. So now let's look at our music and look for patterns. We start with our treble clef, as always. Then we have our time signature. It's 4/4 time. We have 4 beats in each measure, and the whole note gets 4 beats. So let's talk about that real quick. If the whole note is worth 4 beats, half of a whole is a half, and half of 4 is 2. So the half notes that you see get 2 beats. Then half of a half is a quarter, and half of 2 is 1, so the quarter notes get 1 beat. But we do have some other things to look at. First of all, we have dotted half notes. So if you know that a half note gets 2 beats, you also need to know that a dot will add half of that note's value to it, whatever that happens to be. So in this case, half of 2 is 1. So when we add 1 more beat, we get 3. Dotted half notes get 3 beats. So we have 1 here and we have 1 here. Now we also have this tie where we have notes of the same pitch connected across the bar line. So we're going to hold them through that measure and into the next measure. So this tie, this curved line, is like a musical plus sign. So if we know that this whole note gets 4 beats, but we want to hold it longer than 4 beats, we need the tie to extend it to the next measure. So when we tie it to a quarter note, we're actually holding it 4 beats plus 1 beat. We hold it for 5 beats if it's a whole note tied to a quarter in 4/4 time. So that happens here and here, and then it happens here on this D. Down here on this dotted half note, we are holding this for 3 beats plus 1 into the next measure, so a total of 4 beats. So next, let's look for patterns. We start out with the same set of notes, and this happens 3 times. C, E, F, G, 3 times. So we have the first one here, second one here. The third time it happens here, but then we don't hold the G as long. So now we're moving in an arpeggiated pattern. So we're skipping line to line. G, E, C, E, D. And you'll hold that for 5 beats. Take advantage of this quarter rest right here so you can take a breath and continue on to the next phrase. E, D, C, C, E, G, 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 F. And of course hold that note for a total of 4 beats. So I'm down here now. I have this quarter rest. I'm going to breathe here, and then I'm going to pick up on beat 3 with these quarter notes. E, F, G, E, C. Well, that's a lot like going into the second line, but this is different. D, C. Now, this is something else to consider. We have a first ending and a second ending. So what this tells us is the first time through, we're going to play all the way through this first ending. And then I have a repeat sign. So I go all the way back to the beginning. I play all of it again, except now it's the second time, and we don't play the first ending anymore. We skip to the second ending. So I'm going to start a metronome. I'm going to play this twice through. It'll sound just like if there was simply a repeat sign and no endings. This is just a different way to write it, and we're introducing our first and second ending. So make sure you use lots of air, start each note with a t sound, and try to play along. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is it for line 42, Saints Go Marching In. I hope this has been helpful. If you're able to play along at my tempo, that's great. If you need to take it a little bit slower, then do that. Do what is comfortable for you that you will be successful with, and then push yourself to go a bit faster. But I hope this has been helpful, and we'll see you next time.